Welcome to the Berkshires Gone By, history and folklore about the westernmost and most beautiful county in Massachusetts. I'm your host, Brooke. Lenox sits at the geographic center of Berkshire County, and it has for a long time been along the path of many travelers. Either from north to south or east to west, traffic through the town was common, and thus it's made sense that since 1773, an inn has stood at the corner of Main and Walker Streets. Business travel to the town was greatly increased when in 1784, Lenox was made the county seat. This meant that county residents with legal matters would need to come to Lenox to visit the courthouse. The Berkshire Coffee House, for that's what the inn at this location was then called, bustled with people who gathered there for both food and a place to sleep. Business was so good, in fact, that Mr. Peck and Mr. Phelps, the then owners, expanded the hotel. In 1829, the simpler wooden structure soon became a much larger, grander brick building. It was sometimes even called the Old Red Inn because of this red brick. Fanny Kemble herself even called it so, and she stayed there quite often, as she did not purchase her cottage, the Perch, until 1850. This place, the Berkshire Coffee House, or the Old Red Inn, was also one of the rare Berkshire hotels open all year round. Most only operated seasonally. After its great expansion, not only did the hotel offer guests a fine room, but also a great view, as the mountains were beautifully visible from the hotel's spot at the edge of the plateau on which the village of Lenox sits, before the landscape drops down toward the Stockbridge Bowl. The hotel was sold to a Major Wilson, and then again to William O. Curtis in 1853, a sale during which its name was changed to the Curtis Hotel. His son, William D. Curtis, and himself were hard workers and cunning businessmen, and so the hotel thrived. In 1868, the county seat designation was removed to Pittsfield, but the Curtis felt no impact, as Lenox had become a bustling town for tourism and a summer destination for the nation's most wealthy. The hotel was ready to accommodate any of their visitors who didn't have homes in the area of their own. Most of the rooms had fireplaces, and the hotel was heated by the most modern steam heating system available at the time. The hotel also boasted gas lighting, and as soon as it was available, electricity. People of prominence, rich and famous, signed the guest book, and it was said that the Curtis Hotel had the most outstanding collection of autographs in the world. Though at the time it had 80 guest rooms, the hotel bought up 15 homes on Main and Walker Streets, which it rented to summer tourists who desired a more homey feel. These renters were dubbed cottagers, and soon the term was placed upon all who summered in the area. Even the summer residents' huge mansions became known as cottages. The Curtis was also renowned for its hotel dining accommodations. Its food was considered superb. All of the ingredients were brought in fresh from local farms. In addition to trying to offer every possible convenience in-house, the hotel also tried to make travel easier, and had for use by its customers the largest livery stable in western Massachusetts, with 70 horses on hand, and a large collection of coaches, carriages, and buggies for let. In 1902, tragedy found its way to the Curtis Hotel's doorstep. President Theodore Roosevelt had been visiting Pittsfield when his carriage was involved in a streetcar accident. his Secret Service agent, a man he called my shadow, a man named William Craig, was killed. He had been scheduled to stop at the Pittsfield Country Club, the Curtis Hotel, and the Red Lion Inn that evening. But shaken and injured, the president hurried through these visits, stopping to acknowledge the crowds that had gathered to greet him, but also expressing his grief. When he met the crowd at the Curtis Hotel, word of the accident had apparently gotten ahead of him, for the people there already seemed to know that something terrible had happened. The battered president stood before them and said, "My friends, there's been an accident. One of our party has been killed. He was William Craig of the United States Secret Service. I had come to have for this man a genuine admiration, not alone for his rugged honesty and for his loyalty to me, but for the devotion and the love which he showed for my children. I beg of you that there be no cheering and no demonstration of any kind. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for the greeting which you have given me." The president got back into his carriage and left. He stopped again at the Red Lion Inn, where he repeated for that crowd the incident that had happened, before traveling from the state into Connecticut. The Curtis Hotel was expanded twice more. Despite being very large, the hotel was described as unpretentious in comparison to the grand homes in town. In 1909, on Easter Sunday, tragedy struck again when the village of Lenox partially burned. It was April 11th, in the early hours. A large portion of Main Street toward Church Street was destroyed. Residents fled in nothing but their nightclothes out into the cold air. Unprepared firemen tried all they could to put out the blaze, but little could be done. During and after this traumatic event, many of the displaced residents were sheltered in the Curtis Hotel, and a fund was set up for them by any who had a little extra to donate to help them rebuild their lives. In the 1920s, in an attempt to offer more to do, and so appeal to more guests, the Curtis Hotel, as well as Aspinwall Hotel, formed partnerships with the Lenox Club, a nearby private club, for use of its recently expanded 18-hole golf course by their guests. Though, in 1932, Aspinwall, the Curtis Hotel's biggest competition in town, burnt to the ground. The Great Depression struck a devastating blow to the entire nation, rich and poor, and made the profits and operation of grand hotels difficult at best. After the Second World War, William D. Curtis, who'd taken over for his father, had had enough and sold his hotel. For a while, the hotel turned a small profit. A restaurant called the Old Stage Grill was opened inside, and a stagecoach even placed outside by the sign, but it wasn't to last. As in the 50s, the boom in easy, no-fuss, and affordable motels, which it seems that motor travelers preferred, was taking a bite out of the profits of grand old hotels. So, in 1979, the town of Lenox bought the hotel, and the hotel was given new life. This beautiful space was revitalized as a grand home for the elderly. The renovations were undertaken by Berry Architects, Inc., who also designed into the plan offices and retail space. And that's what it's been ever since. The building is still beautiful. It still stands on the same prominent corner in the village of Lenox. It still boasts beautiful views and a large, comfortable porch that anyone's welcome to sit on. And it's still a piece of the heart of this beautiful Berkshire town. This has been The Berkshires Gone By, created, written, directed, and read by myself, Brooke Grenier, and co-produced by Deanna Garner. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where there's a new picture of old Berkshire history almost every day. You can also find us on YouTube and at www.theberkshiresgoneby.com, where you can listen to every episode we've ever made. And we hope you'll join us for our next episode. Thanks for listening.